Hi, my name is Angela Arvola, and the purpose of this video is to let, I guess, the world know what's going on in my room with the use of the iPads. I know that there are plenty of you guys, a multitude, who are working hard to get the iPads into the room, raising money to have the funds to buy them, and then the great guys over and women over at OIT doing all the necessary updates to make them as secure as possible for our kiddos to use. And I think sometimes it's hard to know what happens at the other end of things, and so that's the purpose of this video, is to let you in on what's going on in my classroom as far as a room that is piloting the iPads for the first time in District 6. The first thing I would like to talk about is how I'm using the iPads to create a flipped classroom. Flipping the classroom is a relatively new concept where the lessons are videotaped, and then the children are expected to watch those video lessons, take notes on them, and then bring their questions to class. Because I have iPads in my room, when kids do not watch the video lessons, or they can't because of internet access, they can spend time in my classroom watching the videos, taking notes on it. They have me there to help them with it, and the other part of the class can move on to something that's more challenging. So it does help set up for differentiation in the classroom. The next thing I would like to tell you about with regards to the iPads is the improvement in the orderly classroom that I have seen since the iPads have come in. Now that seems a little opposite of what you might expect. You might think that kids were excited about having the iPad so their behaviors would escalate. And don't get me wrong, that did for the first couple of days. I felt like I was spending Christmas with 112-year-olds. But after that calmed down, you can't horseplay in a room with iPads. And I had a couple of weeks where we did not have the iPads, and I was constantly saying, please keep your hands to yourself, keep your feet to yourself, be careful when you walk across the room, don't bump into each other. And now that we have the iPads, it just helps reinforce that orderly sense in the classroom, and has made my life a lot easier. The next positive that I want to talk about the iPad is the sense of engagement in my classroom. I've always felt like I've done a pretty good job of keeping my kids engaged. I have plenty of tricks as deep as Mary Poppins' bag to help make the learning environment as enjoyable as possible, but none of my tricks have compared to the iPad. I've got kids that are meeting me out in the hallway asking me, are we going to work on our stories today, our personal narratives today? I have children who are begging for me to show their work up on the Apple TV, and we can't even show all of the work because, I have a limited amount of time with them, and time is up. We work all the way up to the very last minute of the class, and bar none, my engagement is the highest it's ever been since we've had the iPads in the classroom. Now I want to talk about the opportunity that the iPads have opened up for my students to become more creative. And this is something that's really close to my heart, having had several years, in fact decades, of teaching theater and drama to children. And I just see the connection to creativity and becoming a better thinker. And as my responsibility evolves from teaching children the right answers to the questions to becoming a citizen ready for the 21st century workforce, I realize that I really do have to teach them how to become better thinkers. And when the children are able to have their own creativity tied up into their work, they take personal pride in it, first of all, and it also allows them to think outside the box, if you will. So as opposed to, well, what does the teacher want me to say, which is pretty much the old way of thinking, moving that paradigm from there to what do I have in my own head? What kind of background knowledge do I have that I can put into this? And what kind of ideas can I propel this basic concept to? That's huge. And the iPads just naturally allow us to do that. The last thing I want to talk about that I've noticed so far with using the iPads is that they're just fun. And I can teach so many more concepts with such ease this year as opposed to the previous years, just because if I can find a game on the internet or an app that uses that information, they are so much more willing to apply their knowledge to the game. And so we've worked on analogies, we've worked on vocabulary building, we've worked on academic language coming from language arts, as well as other content areas, using applications and the internet as a resource to finding games that are challenging, but yet they can also be successful at. So in closing, I once again want to thank the Success Foundation for Dr. Wallace and for the employees over at OIT for helping support my classroom with the iPads. The jury is still out on whether or not we'll see scores improve based on using it, but I just cannot help but think that the technology, using the technology on a daily basis alone, is going to help them become successful men and women of the future workforce. Thanks again, and I'll keep you guys updated as the year goes on. Bye.